Hey everybody, welcome back to Todd's podcast. We have a great guest today. She is Dr. Angela Garcia Falconetti, and Angela is Polk State College's 5th president.
That's right.
In the history of their college tenure. And I appreciate you being here. You've been a friend since I've gotten to know you. When you came to town and you assumed the position, you've always been extremely generous to me with your time and your energy, and as you are with our community. So I welcome you to the show today.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, Todd, and I also want to thank Saunders, Ralston, and Danzler for hosting this podcast. But I'm honored to serve as the 5th president. You're right. Number 5 is alive. Thank goodness. Let's keep it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I wouldn't be doing so well in my role without great community members like you. So from a personal note, thank you, and thank your family, our good mayor of Winter Haven, too. I think you might know him. Just little tongue-in-cheek there. Naturally, I think, of course, Mayor Danzler in Winter Haven, but all of our mayors, all of our elected officials,
Absolutely.
All the above. I just want to make sure that I highlight the fact that you've been a good friend to our institution even prior to my tenure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. I've even taken a couple of classes there. I don't think I've ever finished them, but I did take a class or two. And Eli, you've taken a class or two from Polk?
Also, during high school, I took a few dual enrollment classes with Polk State.
Excellent. Did you finish them?
I did finish them.
Okay. I'm glad you didn't follow in Todd's footsteps. You're supposed to finish those classes.
I'm not a great student. I fully admit that. I had 5 years at the University of Florida, so
It was because
go
of those
Gators.
classes that I'm able to finish early. So
Excellent.
Good.
Proud of you.
great. Now Eli's going to want a raise. You get a 20% raise, Eli.
There you go. 25.
thank you.
So, kind of starting off in your life, what were you like as a kid? What did you like in high school? What was important to you in high school?
Well, I want to start by saying that I have a great family.
Yep.
So I'm very blessed to have been raised with great parents and grandparents in Jacksonville, Florida, actually born and raised in Jacksonville. You know, Todd, my parents are Cuban exiles, and they came to the country as children and met in Jacksonville when they were adults. And English is not my first language, actually my second language. So I have had a real passion for education because I changed the trajectory of my family.
Right.
As a child, I loved to dance on the side. So I enrolled in ballet, tap, jazz when I was in 1st grade and stuck with that dance studio all the way through when I moved to New York University to pursue my bachelor's degree in communications, and then taught dance professionally in New York, which was fun. Taught the Rockettes on the side. Not many people know that about me, but also was a substitute teacher at Broadway Dance Center. So I had a lot of fun. Just a loving individual. If I could pat myself on the
Right.
back, I'd share that. I'm always appreciative of every moment with my family. Love to be outdoors. Love the beach. A lot of people don't know that I used to surf. Lived at the beach, born and raised,
I
and
did
so that
not
was
know
a lot
that.
of fun. I enjoyed that. Loved boogie boarding. Just loved being bicycling. A lot of fun, and always very focused on my education. Always knew that that would open the door for, hopefully, the students that we serve today, and for opportunities for me to enhance not only my livelihood, but it's more than that. It's about giving back.
So where'd you go to college? What did you major in?
So I attended New York University, as I just mentioned, pursued a bachelor's degree in communications with a focus in education, and then was accepted actually to Columbia University and New York University for my master's degrees, but moved to Jacksonville because I received a job at Florida State College at Jacksonville teaching dance and dance history at FSCJ, and pursued my master's in instructional leadership at the University of North Florida, and then my doctorate, University of North Florida, with a focus in higher education, even though the degree's in educational leadership and adult education, and then moved and research, by the way, and then pursued a postdoctoral fellowship with the University of Texas at Austin, the Longhorns, in community college leadership. And then I say this is when I lost my mind. I'm kidding. I really didn't. But I had an opportunity to pursue another postdoctoral fellowship.
Good Lord.
I know it. At the U.S. Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and I had the honor of serving as the special assistant to the first Deputy Assistant Secretary for Community Colleges for our nation.
So you have 2 doctorates.
I have 1 doctorate, 1 master's degree, 1 bachelor's degree, and 2 postdoctoral fellowships. Completed 39 credits in community college leadership just for fun. But before I transferred
Can I borrow some of those credits? Because they might help me get something.
Oh, you're so funny. No, I think Eli took care of that for us all already at Polk State. Appreciate that. But yeah, so, when I was at the University of North Florida writing my dissertation, I started higher education as an academic advisor. And I was there, I decided, I really align more with the community college mission,
Right.
which is really, as we all know, to provide students who may not have an opportunity to pursue an education with the opportunity to pursue an education. And so I made that change. I was an assistant vice president for student affairs at University of North Florida prior to leaving my job. And as my mother used to tell me, and your full-time benefits, because I was in my 20s, she would remind me of that often, and went to Texas and then DC and learned quite a bit about community colleges. But I said just a moment ago, I completed 39 credits at UT Austin just for fun. That was not even part of my research fellowship.
39 credits for fun?
That's for fun.
That's wrong with you, woman.
I know. Well, I'm not going to complete any more anytime soon. I think my husband Rob says I have more degrees than a thermometer. And so I think that's kind of funny.
That's good. So outside of teaching the Rockettes how to dance,
Yes.
have you always been on the administrative side? Have you been an educator? Which do you like more, teaching or administering and kind of running the programs?
I have been on both sides. I've served as an adjunct professor for approximately 3 or 4 higher education institutions. Currently, I have a non-tenured, non-paid contract or agreement. It's not really a contract with Florida Atlantic University. So I have the honor of serving on doctoral committees for the students in the higher education program. But I prefer to serve as an administrator. And, I prefer looking at the institution as a whole and seeing how to most effectively position it so that we can continue to grow, in this case, our county, and provide our students like you and Eli, although Eli finished. Almost finished, excuse me, almost finished. There we go.
He's a senior this year.
That's right, there you go. He's a senior. But, provide the opportunities for the institution to have the students that stay here in this county. 70% of our students stay here, graduates,
Right.
and are employed here locally.
And that was what some of the questions were going to be is the mission of a community college and how important they are to the local workforce. Because I think that's one of the charges is y'all are there to kind of train our local workforce.
Absolutely.
For those that may not go on to universities or that, now that you've got 4-year degrees, you kind of got a little bit of both in there, right?
You're right. I like to say that community is no longer in our name. I mean, you recall when we were
State?
Exactly. Now we added state. We were.
I remember when you were
community
Polk Junior College,
Exactly.
we used to call you PJC.
60 years ago, right? Yeah. So that's how it goes. But we still maintain that same mission. We're
Right.
here to serve the community at large, but we are designed to respond to what you just mentioned, the workforce needs, ranging from, yes, the credit-bearing programs, Associate of Arts for students who want to transfer either to our baccalaureate programs, as we have 6, or want to transfer to a major state university or private university, or really customizing what I like to call non-credit, because you actually don't get an academic credit for it, but short-term training programs that lead to a national industry recognized credential, much like we offer at our corporate college.
Right.
So we customize the training. The businesses that we coordinate with, for example, the city of Winter Haven, talking about your brother, the mayor, we administer a public administration program for the city of Winter Haven. For
And
those
do
who
you design the curriculum with them in mind, or with them in the room with you as you're designing it, and they say, hey, this is where we need to go, or you just say, we'll take care of it so that it'll be accredited? I don't really know how that comes about.
That's a great question. It depends on what the entity desires. We typically will design the curriculum and then share it with them, but prior to designing the curriculum, we have a meeting with them to ensure that we're meeting targets and goals. We'll develop a plan, share it, and then we develop the curriculum, and then we offer the program. So it's been very successful.
So you mentioned corporate college. Let's talk about that for a second. There's equipment out there. I've been out there a number of times. So if someone says, hey, can you train my employees on this computer technology or on this equipment, you can take that company, get their needs, and figure out how to educate all their workforce, or is it just the white collar side or the people who are touching the equipment? How does that work?
Whatever the business desires. One of our best examples, because it's one of our longest standing partnerships with our corporate college, is the Mosaic Company.
Right.
We customized training for Mosaic that occurs within that facilities, and since then we have graduated more than 260 graduates in the area of millwrights and mechanics, electrical instrumentation, and automation technicians.
So those are men and women with hands on the equipment that they're going to be making their living with out there in the mines and in the fields and within their company, right?
Exactly right.
So it doesn't just have to be that. You can take just about any field out there and customize a program for them. Do they need to provide you the equipment? Do you have grants or scholarships that you can bring equipment in to help that company, or how does that work?
Both.
Okay.
We often will provide the equipment. If we don't have the equipment, it may be that we do pursue a grant. It could be that the company would like to cost share with us, and so they might purchase the equipment and we advance it. And so, but we really can develop a plan to have customized training for whatever our local business needs are. You know, for example, the real estate company, your real estate company. Mm-hmm. If you came to us and said, you know, we'd like to develop a short-term training program to help those individuals that are studying for the license for real estate, we could do that. If you came to us and said, you know, we have a strategic planning retreat that we would like to have an individual come and help us plan for our future, we can do that. So the range is, I mean, the options are limitless.
It's just you will tailor the training and the program to the needs of the community.
That is correct.
Pretty amazing. Nursing.
Yes.
It's important to both of us.
Yes.
Angela and I serve on the Winter Haven Hospital Board of Trustees, and the nursing program that you run is so vital to our community, turning out many nurses, and a lot of them come to work at Winter Haven, but they go out in the community and they're out there in the workforce. Tell us a little bit about the nursing program, if you got any statistics, or just generally speaking. I'm not trying to get every number from you, but you do provide such a critical program for our community and the health needs of our community.
True. So I would like to just highlight two statistics, however, because it's important to know that on the occupation listed in the 2021-2022 regional demand occupations list for Polk County, there were approximately 300 vacancies last year for nurses. So the demand is there. And we're proud to offer a stellar nursing program. We graduate approximately 230 nurses a year, and we have currently approximately 450 students in both programs, our registered nursing program and also our bachelor's in nursing. You know, you could not be more correct. The health sciences are just expanding. I think everyone knows that. I mean, we know it, but then we really felt it during the COVID timeframe, even though COVID's still here. But I'm very proud. You mentioned the partnerships with all of our healthcare practitioners, and I'm honored. Thank you, by the way, for your service, specifically not only yours, but your families for a long time to Baycare Winter Haven Hospital, but also for your service as former chair. And Baycare has been an excellent partner. Advent Health donated $1.7 million, for example, to endow the first dean of nursing at our institution. It's a new position. And we recruited Dr. Delise Wilson. She was with the University of South Florida, but she's doing an amazing job, and the eye is toward the future. We're currently offering nursing on our Winter Haven campus and also on our Lakeland campus, but we're expanding the presence of nursing on our Lakeland campus. Okay. We're developing a more sophisticated simulation lab for the students to practice on, and we're planning for growth. The same with the Winter Haven campus. We just launched a brand new, last year, Center for Human Simulation. So we're excited. And then one of our primary priorities, it's actually our number one outside of ensuring that our students and our employees are successful, is the Haines City property that we own, called Haines City Davenport.
Right.
We're going to be offering in that facility, once we have all the funding necessary to be able to build the building, we're going to be offering a simulation of hospital. So, for example, we will be able to see the patient from intake to outtake, and all health sciences will work across disciplines to ensure that patient experience is excellent. And then the students and the faculty will evaluate the entire scenario. We can even take it from EMS, EMR, bring them in and take it all the way to the end. So they don't necessarily have to be in their clinical space to get that experience.
I think studying that is so important because, you know, we hear the problems every month on the board meetings, but I'm sure most every hospital has the same issue: is how do we get everybody through the system? What's the most efficient way to do that? And it sounds like that's kind of what you're studying, is taken from the ambulance to discharge, hopefully, and the smoothest way to do that, and the most efficient way to do that, and the healthiest way to do that.
It's true. And I also want to add, I don't want to leave out Lakeland Regional and Orlando Health.
Absolutely not.
But nursing is growing. I mean, the healthcare industry is growing naturally, but nursing is going to be extremely important to the Lakeland area as Orlando Health is added to the Lakeland area, and the VA.
Todd's podcast is sponsored in part by SVN Saunders Ralston Dantzler Real Estate. Since 1996, the firm has offered unrivaled brokerage services throughout Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. With over 90 expert advisors throughout the region, our team has the knowledge and resources to help clients realize their most ambitious real estate investment goals. When you choose SVN Saunders Ralston Dantzler Real Estate, you have access to a diverse suite of commercial and land services, including forestry consulting, land management, auctions, property management, commercial leasing, and negotiating conservation easements. If you're seeking to invest in land or explore commercial real estate opportunities in the Southeast, contact us today at svnsaunders.com or call 877-518-5263 to connect with an advisor today. Once again, that's svnsaunders.com or by phone at 877-518-5263.
Colleges, universities versus trade schools. Any thoughts on that? I think the trade school, Travis Technical,
Yes.
they're part of y'all. That's where my son went through and got his A&P license. Smart kid, but he's not a college mentality. I think I would have probably been a trade school had that been an option when I was back, then. But he thrived at the trade school and went out with a job right away. My daughter was more on the formal education, I guess, traditional type education, went to law school. How do they all mix? I mean, we need every type of employee out there, and Polk certainly got their role in it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when I
Write that
served,
down, Eli.
it's a really good question. It's an excellent question. They all are, but that was a really
And
good
that
one.
was not AI generated, not like Eli over there.
I would never use those apps ever.
So first of all, I think it's important to start by noting that every state has a different definition of what workforce education means. So there are
Right.
different configurations. When I served Virginia Western Community College as vice president, I knew that there, at that institution, workforce was all the training that occurred within the non-credit arena. So fast forward, moving back to Florida, my home state, love it. Now Polk County's my home, love it here, as you well know.
Yep.
That was one of the first questions I asked when I moved to Polk County, is what really is, even though I'd already studied it, what really is the difference between workforce and non-workforce? Don't all of our degrees lead to students being in the workforce? So the answer is yes. Everything here is considered workforce, because even if a student transfers, they're going to transfer to a baccalaureate program that will lead to a job
Correct.
eventually, right? But Travis and Ridge Technical, as you noted, they're a part of us only because we have great relationships
Correct.
with them, but they're a part of the public school system. And there is a place for all of us, which is what is amazing about our county, is that there's no competition. If anyone wants to even claim that there is, I think it's very little, but we all fit within our spaces. So, we offer as a part of the Florida college system, we're supposed to be focused on high skill jobs that lead to high wages, even if it's short-term training.
Right.
They have their space, and yet we collaborate. And the opportunities, I've spoken about this with our superintendent, and we're already advancing some priorities on how to further align Travis and Ridge to be a credential that then one can stack another credential onto that. You're very well aware, the LPN, the CNA to the LPN to the RN to the BSN, talking about nursing, and then the MSN. So again, I'm very fortunate to be in an area where there's little competition and there's a lot of collaboration.
I think there is competition, but I think there's extensive cooperation.
That's true.
Is a great word. I mean, you're all competing for a certain number of kids coming through, but from my short time as in public office, the cooperation amongst all of y'all from high school through the whole education process, you really seem to almost be one-minded as we got to get these young people educated and get them into our workforce.
Sure.
And your mission may be a little different than some of the other colleges or universities or the trade shows, but we're all on the same team pushing in the same direction. And that's what I've always been very impressed with once I started paying attention to these things, is how everyone does. You compete, but you cooperate. And if it doesn't work for you, you're going to try and make it work for the next person, as everyone says. And that's what I've always really enjoyed about, watching the education system and a lot of other institutions here in Polk County.
Sure.
How much of your job is lobbying?
A large percentage of it. A large percentage. I'm in Tallahassee a lot, to
Right.
say the least. I had the honor of serving as the chair of the Council of Presidents for the 28 colleges,
Yep.
which is a body that pushes for specific legislation or has legislative priorities that has a number, a financial request to help advance what we just talked about. Mostly it's
Right.
workforce needs. That year, I even got to know the employees at the hotel that I stayed at very well, and I still know them now when I return. So, when you get to that point, you're traveling there a lot.
What's
But
your
it
favorite
is.
hotel in Tallahassee?
The AC.
AC?
But I didn't want to say that publicly because we're going to have more people going there, and I really like the hotel.
If you know everybody there, you'd think they got your room tucked
I
away
know,
whenever
that's
you
right.
call in.
That's right. But yes, a lot of it is lobbying. And you just mentioned you being a former elected official here, and thank you again for your service. But also, we have a great local delegation. The delegation, I meet with them here. We meet with them in Tallahassee.
Right.
We also have employees that come. They're part of a President's Leadership Institute
Right.
at Polk State, internal professional development. They meet me there from time to time, and we talk to the local officials. Also, the students. The students have a student government conference, and I join them sometimes, and we'll go and talk to elected officials to advocate for the college. And so it continues.
I think your personality is so wonderfully suited for lobbying.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I do. I've seen you do it. I've seen you from afar, and I've been up, kind of on the same team. We've been on the same sides of things. But it's got to be, I've seen your frustration as well.
No, I don't have any frustrations.
Well, we all do.
Just
if
kidding,
you've ever
of
lobbied,
course.
you've been
Of course you
frustrated.
do,
You've been
yes.
disappointed.
Yes, absolutely.
It seems like you get kicked in the teeth, and you got to kind of step back, regroup, catch your breath, and say, okay, I got to reload and try it a different way, or wait for the next session, or do some other work to try and get there. How hard is it just to get stuff through when you know you need it so much, knowing everybody that's up there probably needs a lot of stuff as well? When I say stuff, money, that's the resources that they give out. How hard is it to work your tail off and come home and they just say no, or you get it passed and maybe the governor says no, or you can't get it out of committee and it's like, but we really need this for our program?
So I want to start by answering that question by saying that I don't believe in being Machiavellian per se, backstabbing. Everything that people are going to hear about me is what I love about this college and I love about this county. So I think that helps. Yet there is a process. There is a process behind all of this, as you're mentioning, and it is disappointing. I mean, when you sacrifice, even though I am paid for it, but sacrifice all those times away from my family, away from, the college, and employees then turn around and say, well, we don't see the president. Well, that's because the president's in Tallahassee. So when I give presentations or small group meetings with faculty and staff, I ask them to bear with me. And I always share when the legislative session is because they like to see the president. It's not just me, it's, the role. And yet last year is a good example of it in that our local delegation did an excellent job. We got to the very end. The general appropriations bill had $16.8 million for our number one project. We also had funding in there for $6.1 million for the renovation of the building that was first built on our Lakeland campus for approximately $6 million. And in the end, when the governor received the general appropriations bill, he vetoed the $16.8 million. And yet we were benefiting from the $6.1 million. So that was hurtful because, we all have our priorities. But what you just said is what I always keep in mind. Our priorities are amongst a list of I don't even know how many. It just depends on how many volumes across the state. And so I'm not going to question why that occurred, why the governor decided to veto it, although I do like to have the information as best as we can possibly get it. We have great lobbyists that we work with so that this upcoming year we continue to press and demonstrate the need for the fastest growing area in our county for us to have that presence there and what the education in that building is going to yield for our county as a whole. So we're not done. So it's all of that. And then I was asked once, what do you stay up at night thinking of? And that really is it. how are we going to find the revenue to be able to build that facility? Because it's not about having the physical space. It's about what that's going to bring to our county as a whole into healthcare. So it's a continued challenge. It's an opportunity. And then I start thinking about, who do I need to meet? How can I meet that person? What about the Senate president or what? So all of those things go through my mind. It's strategy.
And some people think lobbying is only for those 60 days. I'm going to tell you, you lobby 365 days.
Every day.
You may not be with someone, but you're strategizing, your team is strategizing, you're meeting with people here in Polk County or wherever your colleges, your colleges are and wherever you need to meet them. So when people say, well, you just got to go to Tallahassee and it's Polk County days and, we got 2 days up there to do our lobbying goes on year round. And even though they're not in session. So I applaud you for that. And there's times you just get tired. You just get beat down. And you made the comment, you're away from your husband, you're away from your family. You're not out on the lake water skiing or swimming in the lakes fighting the alligators. Or,
right.
We'll get to that in a little bit. But people don't understand the grind. So I've seen it. I've seen it on you. I've seen it on other folks. And I appreciate all the work that you do because I do know that it is not a 3-day trip to Tallahassee, whether you're with the realtors or the accountants or the lawyers or the universities or higher education or lower education. So I appreciate all you do.
Thank you. And I know you know this, but it's also about the presence of the institution in a community and the respect that the institution has. And this is not to pat myself on the back. I'm the only president amongst the 28 presidents to serve on the state advisory group for the Department of Juvenile Justice.
Right.
When you talk about lobbying, that's not really lobbying for money, but it's a presence for the college. It's putting that stamp of Polk State, like the title of our strategic plan. We want to be have a bolder presence. It's called Boulder, but in the community, it's putting that stamp of endorsement on Polk State. I'm one of the few presidents to serve on the Florida Chamber Foundation Board of Directors. Well, again, what does that do? It puts Polk County at the forefront. We should never be an afterthought, this county.
Right.
I mean, the opportunity to grow, the opportunities that we have here, you mentioned it, the good people that are focused on the same mission, even though there might be some competition in there. You said it perfectly, in my estimation. So it's a constant. You're right. I appreciate so much what you're saying because it's a constant need to ensure that internally we're doing the best possible, our faculty and staff, to make sure our college is successful, but externally that we are having a very strong presence at the state level and down, really, all the way to Polk County.
What are the biggest obstacles you see in front of the state education system right now that you're having to deal with? Is it really, if you had all the funding, could all your problems go away? Or does that mask some of them, or is that part of it? What's out there that is a headwind for you right now in the college system?
There's so many things I could talk about in answering that question. Realistically, one of the areas that continues to grow across our county and also across our state is dual enrollment. And our college offers one of the lowest prices for dual enrollment amongst all the other colleges yet, because our arrangement with the public school system is as such in which we provide what I'm going to title as, or coin as, a prorated rate. We don't charge for the entire tuition that we could receive. So many could argue that we're losing money with regards to dual enrollment. I want to thank our delegation and Senator Starzl when she was there in the Senate because she worked to lobby for additional funding through a bill that was passed to assist with the offsetting of those costs for dual enrollment, because we know it's critical. And we want to continue to partner with our superintendent and the public school system to make that happen. If I were to choose one as of today, that would be it. But, there's so many opportunities, so many things ahead. Workforce development is another one. I wish that we could offer every single business what they need. So how do we get out and reach to every single business in this community to make sure we have what they need? So there's so many opportunities, and that's not just here. That's across the state.
Shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about athletics at Polk.
Okay.
When I was in high school, I played on the tennis team, and Polk State had men's and women's tennis because we would share the same municipal courts down there. Now you've got men's basketball and baseball. You've got women's softball, women's soccer, and volleyball. Are y'all able to offer scholarships? How many of your of your students are able to take part through scholarship programs? Are you happy with your athletics, or do you always want it to expand, or you're in a pretty good spot, you think?
We're in a good spot.
Good.
Of course, I believe we can always expand our athletic programming if that's what we deem is needed for our institution. One of the great things about athletics, you know this, all the listeners today are going to know this, but when the students are involved in that kind of a close-knit environment, the likelihood of them succeeding is higher. But we really don't play around when it comes to academics. They have to perform academically,
Right.
or they won't continue to persist in athletics, and we work with our Florida college system to make that happen. To answer your question, though, we offer approximately 80 scholarships a year
Wow.
to our athletes, and many of our student athletes are international students. But proud of them. I mean, I'm proud of all the teams. I mean, the soccer team won the state region championship last year during the regular session.
Right.
First time in 13 years. You know, our baseball coach, Al Corbeil, surpassed Bing Tyus as the program's all-time leader in wins, which is...
I didn't know that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I grew up with Bing.
Okay.
He tried recruiting me when I was like 40 years old. I said, Bing, I don't think I could play baseball for the college. So
He's
appreciate
a
that.
great
Yeah.
individual, and I'm so grateful to his service to our college.
Yep.
But he was, Tyus was actually the athletics director who hired Coach Corbeil. So
Right.
it's a great legacy to leave. A lot of people just really involved in making sure that our students are successful. Brandon Giles, you know, and his family.
Yep.
Former serving our institution in the basketball
know
arena.
Brandon well.
Yes, so I mean, we have great athletics and student life and student government. I'm sure student government would be very important to you to make
Right.
sure that we have the future government leaders that are learning
Right.
from individuals like you and others in our community.
Well, you made a comment that most everybody listening knows this. We've got 17 million listeners,
Maybe
or take,
not.
give or take
Maybe
a
they
couple.
don't know it.
That's a fact, actually.
Was that our last
That's
number,
great.
Eli?
I think so. I think that's exactly what it
That's great.
Hey, listeners.
Hey everyone.
Hola.
Hi all.
Hello, everybody. Hello, this is Rob Palumbo.
This is Fred Hyde.
This is Juliet Ashley Vide.
Dr. Angela Garcia Falconetti.
This is Congressman Scott Franklin.
This is Margie Grant.
This is Jake Palumbo.
And I want to thank you for listening to Todd's podcast.
Thank you for listening to Todd's podcast.
Thank you for listening to Todd's podcast.
Please make sure that you like and or subscribe.
Don't forget,
Don't forget
Don't forget to subscribe to Todd's podcast on your favorite podcast app. Tune in and listen.
Join in and listen to us.
Thanks.
thank you.
So you've got the athletics. Student housing's probably got to be an issue for not just your athletes, but also students. Not everyone lives at home and commutes and works. I mean, I'm sure there are some that come. You said you've got international kids that are coming. How do you try and find housing for them?
that's a tough situation. We rely on the local industry, apartments,
Yep.
houses, you know, whatever configuration each of the coaches can work with our athletic director on to ensure that the students have what they need. But it's tough, you know,
It's got to be a constant struggle.
it is, you know, by state statute, we're not permitted to provide student housing.
I did not know that.
Yes. However, there's a way around that. Our foundation board of directors or foundation board could help see that a housing facility could be built. And so we're having some discussions. It's not enough along where, you know, I have any information to share today.
Right.
However, there are individuals who are interested in seeing that happen for our athletes for the reason that you're mentioning. Now, of course, you know what happens, just like the institutions here that have housing, once that happens, that also changes
Right.
all of our services at the institution.
Right.
We'll need more law enforcement, or we'll need more security is really the word I'm looking for, excuse me, or phrase. We'll need to have student life available for them to get involved in. So there's so much of that needs to occur, but we're looking toward the future because you're right. They would be better suited to be on our campus.
One of my close friends from high school, Dean Kendall, I had gone out to his house one day to talk to one of his boys who was trying to get in something. I said, I'd like to meet him. And I walked out, and these gigantic young boys are laying all over the couch and the floor. I said, Dean, what the heck's going on? You got some 7-foot boys in here.
Right.
And it was the basketball team. And he's kind of adopted some of those guys, not literally. He's got 6 children of his own. But, you know, that's a program that's very important to him. And he provides leadership and funding. And there's others that do that around the community. And that's when it first kind of hit me is some of these kids don't have anywhere. You know, there's no structure where the university said, here, go to this address and we got an apartment for you.
Same with food services.
Yep.
We have a local church that drops off food for the students that's, you know, is prepackaged and all of the above. So it's done in a good way. But the community has been very helpful with our athletes. And I want to underscore that. We have a
Right.
couple of fundraisers a year that we host, but we offer the scholarships, the funding that comes from that, we offer the scholarships to students. So it's important. So I want to thank Dean for that.
Yep. one of my favorite pictures of seeing you, and it comes out quite often.
Basketball.
Nope.
Oh, darn.
Graduation ceremony.
Oh, okay.
Because you have the biggest smile on your face in every picture, and every semester or quarter, whenever you have graduate, it's got to be the highlight of every president's year, because that's the culmination of so much hard work, is getting these young people to graduation. And you're there with your gown, your pictures are being taken with the proud parents and the proud kids. How much prep goes into your remarks? Do you kind of say the same things all the time? Do you change them for the classes? Do you change them for the times? Tell me a little bit about that. But I love seeing your face during the graduation, because you just have the biggest smile on your face, because I know you're so proud of the work that not only your teachers have done, but the kids have done, and the administrators and everybody, to get those young men and women across the stage at that point.
You're exactly correct. There is no greater honor for me professionally than to preside over those graduation ceremonies. Since this is my first presidency, my first ceremony that I presided over, as we started processing, I started to some tears in my eyes. I had told myself, pull it together. I can't see you cry here, right? But it was just amazing. And then to see the completion, to see the fact that these students, you're right, the faculty, the staff, the trustees, the foundation board members, the community members that are invested like Dean, to see them just shepherd those students to the point where they're completing and they're enhancing their lives. And again, to see that 70% of those students are going to stay here and they're going to be employed here in this community is remarkable. With regards to my remarks, I switch them up. We do have a script, naturally, but I'll tell you just a quick thing. I remember one of the ceremonies now was speaking, and I looked down at my binder with the script, and one of the pages was missing, excuse me. So I looked down, I went, oh, well, I better ad-lib. Nobody noticed, I just had a good time. I spoke a little bit and moved it on. But it's just a remarkable time. It really is. It is the culmination of everything that we do.
Right. You have immersed yourself in our community. Like we said, you're on the Winter Haven Hospital Board, been on the Winter Haven Chamber of Commerce. You just rotated out of being president, I think, a week or two ago.
Yes.
Being a past president is a wonderful thing.
It is the best.
It's the best position ever.
Yes.
You're the past chairman of the Central Florida Development Council. You've been on the Winter Haven EDC board, the Lakeland Chamber board. And there's more, but that's just what I'm going to hit right here. How do you balance being a mom, a wife, the head of a college, and that's one of the largest in the state, and how do you balance all that with a personal life and not just saying, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to get out of bed today?
That's another really good question. They're all good, by the way, but that's a really good one, because I'm reflecting, as you were talking, I was reflecting on all of those, the drives, the different roles, how to balance up. First of all, it's important for me to highlight that I have a wonderful husband. My husband, Rob, is just a wonderful man. He is very dedicated to our family. Sophia is 12.
Oh my gosh.
Our daughter. I know, time flies. And I do believe she wished that I was home more, but she has come to understand that my role as the president is our part of our life. So it's become part of our lifestyle. I had a good friend when I was named president who said, she's been a president a couple times, she said, when you go to the college, you want to maintain your own personal life naturally, but just make sure that you integrate your family in the college activities, much like I'm sure you did when you were an elected official, and you do here, because that is who we are as a family and as a team. The balancing, I don't believe that there's really balance in life. I believe that, and one of our deans actually said this to me once, that it's like a teeter-totter, it goes back and forth, back and forth. One of the greatest things I did recently with regards to balance is, and this is a commercial of sorts, a shout out to Chris Law and Laws of Fitness in downtown Winter Haven. I joined the gym, and so I go there. It's very close to my main office and de-stress. So I think we all look for opportunities. For me, when I have some free time, which is not a lot, I enjoy being with my family. I enjoy resting. I enjoy working out. And I do believe that we have to have some outlets in life to be able to manage all of the different responsibilities. And so outside of my family and outside of my work, for me, it is working out. Going back to my years of dance, if I'm not doing that, then it does get to be a little bit more challenging.
So you said earlier when you were growing up, you were surfing, you were at Jacksonville. Have you embraced freshwater entertainment as much as saltwater
Absolutely
entertainment?
not.
You are so
Those
chicken.
alligators are in there.
They don't mess with you
I know, but I don't.
usually.
I'm not going to go there.
Well, you can always get on the boogie board, be pulled. It's only dangerous if you fall. So
Right,
that's
there were
your
sharks.
motivation to stay
Sharks,
up.
but there are bears in the woods too. So
Do you like traveling?
love traveling.
Where's your favorite place to go?
My favorite place is Spain. Majority of my family's in Spain, in northern
Okay.
Spain.
Have you been to Cuba?
I've never been to Cuba. That's, of course.
Is that a place that you would like to go, or it might just be a little more than you feel like dealing with? Or?
Oh, I'd like to go to Cuba. Just haven't, I haven't really taken much vacation in the past
Yeah.
6.5 years. I
Yeah.
just thought, I probably should do that soon.
What's your favorite food?
Favorite food, interestingly, lasagna and pizza. I don't eat it often, but that's my favorite.
I thought it might be
Cuban salmon? That's your brother's.
salmon.
That's your brother's favorite. I do love Cuban food, though, and
Yep.
Spanish food.
Where do you like to go in Polk County? What's your favorite restaurant here in Polk County?
Wow, that's hard. 1961, downtown Lakeland. I also love Arabella's.
I know you and I have been to Arabella's a
Yes,
time or two.
love
and that was
Arabella's.
where we had our first meeting, was at Arabella's.
Yes.
What's your favorite movie? Are you a movie buff? Do you like it? Or
I do. I love comedies because
Yep, me too.
do you? Okay, so we deal with so much during the day. Absolutely. I'm either in the community, as you mentioned, or I'm in Tallahassee, or I'm dealing with what I like to call opportunities, but let's say they're human resource issues
Right.
or student conduct issues. That by the time I get home, I like to watch things that are going to make me laugh. But my ultimate favorite movie is The Pink Panther,
Really?
1 and 2.
I like those. My favorite was Blazing Saddles.
I love Blazing Saddles.
And I've probably seen it 100 times.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I could repeat the whole movie word for word as they were saying it. That movie would never be made today,
No.
just because it's so politically incorrect. But if you pay attention, he makes fun of everyone. No one is spared.
Sure.
So it's not a movie for those with thin skin, but if you like laughing, it's just skewering everybody.
Well, I haven't been to see The Greek Wedding 3. I hear it's out.
I've never seen that one, one or
It's a
two.
good comedy.
How about music? What's your favorite genre of music?
Salsa.
Do you
Spanish
salsa
music.
dance?
I do.
Are
Yes.
you good at it?
I don't know. That's up to whoever I'm dancing with, which is my husband typically.
Have you done, is it Dancing with the Stars for Polk Education?
I have not.
I would
No.
think that they may want to get you if you have that hidden talent. So
Who knows? Who knows what the future will hold? But I love all types of music. Country. Love country music. Love jazz. No, you don't like jazz and country?
jazz, I can listen to one or two, but
Pop.
I'm more of the rock and the soft
I
rock
like
and
rock, too.
and that. So, what hidden talent do you have that I don't know about, or that no one knows about?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Baton twirling?
No, I mean I danced for years, like I mentioned. That surfed, boogie boarded. I don't know what other hidden talent I have. I publish. Is that a talent? I publish articles.
Sure.
Research.
I read your letters to the editor whenever they come out. You're very well written, and
Thank
I mean
you.
that as a compliment. And it shows that you do enjoy writing, and I enjoy writing. I don't know if I'm any good at it or not, but writing for a blog for Two Blue Aces, doing this show, it's kind of an outlet for the creative part of me that I enjoy getting to express a little bit. How about your favorite song?
That's a really good question. Oh, I believe it's a Spanish song, but it's Ria y Llora, which it's by Celia Cruz, who was she's passed away since, but one of the icons in Cuba.
Okay.
Great singer.
I'm assuming you're an excellent, voracious reader. You must
I
have
am.
to be.
I am.
What do you read when you're trying to relax? Are you, you got to get away from just all the stuff about lobbying, all the stuff about government, all the stuff about schools. What do you read when you just need to say, I got to put my mind in neutral?
In case you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit of a nerd. So when I read, it's typically leadership, books on leadership. So now I'm reading The Four Agreements.
Okay.
Never read the book. It's a small book. I'm excited to finish it. Read the first 3 chapters. Now I need to read the others. And so that's pretty much what I read. Sometimes I'll pick up the magazines that, are around the county and read about the county and what's going on and make sure that I'm in touch with things.
Were you a big reader in high school?
No.
No. I'm a horrible reader. And if I was a better reader, I would probably be smarter and more intelligent. My daughter is an excellent reader, and that has served her life well. And I wish I was a better reader, and I wish I had been pushed, but that's the lack of discipline in my life, I guess. So that's something I wish that I had done a better job of learning that. If you could go to dinner with 3 people in this world, living or dead, I mean, if they're dead, they couldn't go, but who would you want to have dinner with if there's 3 people?
Outside of my family, because I want to make sure.
You get them every night.
Right, exactly.
Or you get them 4 nights a week. No, I shouldn't say every night.
Right. I'd want to have dinner with, I just mentioned her name, Celia Cruz, because, we are byproducts of our families, of our nationalities, of who we are. She would be one. The other 2, I'm more of a sentimental type than wanting to go to dinner with someone who is, very famous. I'd want to go to dinner with my major professor. She lives in Jacksonville. I just can't carve out the time to get out there and go to dinner with her. She's 80 now. She's a major professor of my dissertation work. And beyond that, would say the same about some of the others.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you an exciting answer, am I?
No, your answer's your answer. It's fine. I mean, we're coming to a close. What person has shaped your life the most?
My mother.
Your mom?
Yes.
Is she still with us?
Yes, thank God.
And does she still live in Jacksonville?
She still lives in Jacksonville. She just celebrated a birthday. I'm not going to share the age because she'd be mad at me for that, although I'll tell everybody I'm 48. I'm fine with that. Every year is a blessing. That's how I see it. We're all different. But, my mother and father are wonderful. I love my father very much. So no comparison. My parents were divorced when I was in high school.
Okay.
And so my mother was always there. My father was not there as much. It's just what happens, when there's a divorced family. But the real key of what my mother has brought both my sister, I have a sister who's 9 years younger than I am, both of us, is unconditional love.
Yep.
And that can never be taken away. Once you experience that kind of love in life, you hope to just be able to pay that forward. But she has never left my side.
And emulate that as a parent.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm sure you can relate because I know you love your kids that way.
Yeah.
I can see the way you love your daughter. And so that's a gift. And so that's what I hope to give my daughter. And really, all in all, even with the employees at the college, I'm saying outside of family, that's why I said even, I care for them all. I want them all to be successful. Yes, I have a tough job because they have to do their work and do it extremely well, or, we have to have a different discussion at that time. But I try very hard to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But I do believe it's an extension of my mother.
Yeah. I would have a hard time pressing. I would probably pick my dad just because of the influence he had on me and my brothers. And, I've got a son and a daughter, and they're totally different people. But I love them the same. They just have different needs. Growing up, my 2 brothers and I, we were all different. And, my older brother was very regimented. He was a great big brother. And I was screwing up a little bit, and my brother Brad just skated under the radar because I think my mom and dad just ran out of energy disciplining after they got through with me. But I agree. I think, if you're lucky enough to have a parent that is, one of those main people that shaped your life, you're very, very fortunate.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that I have not asked you that you had hoped I would or you thought I would that I didn't?
Yes. What you would not know to ask me.
Get ready to cut her mic, Eli. This is getting scary.
No, what I hoped you would have asked me is a little bit more about my family, because I have a niece now. As I mentioned, my sister's 9 years younger. So Sophia's our daughter, Rob and I. Yep. 12,
a great
as I
fisherman.
mentioned. Yes,
fisherwoman.
Yes, that's
She's
right.
She's better than General Palumbo by a long shot.
I won't say that, but I'm glad you did.
Will.
I'm glad you did. In all seriousness, I have a little niece who's 4, and she's my godchild. She's
I think I saw her baby picture.
Daughter. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. She was in the hospital, and she was actually flicking a bird with her middle finger, and I sent that to you so that we could laugh about, how kids are. You never know what finger they're going to put up at you, but the doctor thought that was really funny. And my sister's expecting a little boy, so I have a little nephew on the way. So I just feel so blessed to see them come to life and get to love them outside of. I always wanted more kids, so we're blessed. We're blessed with one. I don't second. There's nothing missing from my life by not having another child, but now I get to enjoy them because my sister's younger, and so we have them in the family. They're just so much fun. And by the way, I do need to give a shout out to. I'd like to, don't need to, but to Legoland as a great partner of the college. We have so many great partners.
Absolutely.
But Peppa Pig theme park, the only theme park for preschoolers across the state, it's a pretty big deal for my little niece. She thinks
Right.
I'm so cool because Peppa Pig, she lives down the street from me.
Oh, so they live in Winter Haven?
No, they live in Fort Lauderdale, but
Fort
she
Lauderdale.
likes to come see me because of Peppa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my real estate has increased.
Well, that's awesome. Angela, I can't thank you enough for being here today. You've been my friend since you moved to town, and I appreciate it ever since we had lunch at Arabella's that one day. We seem to have bonded, and I appreciate your attitude towards me. I appreciate your attitude towards our city and our county and to our college. Your leadership in our community is phenomenal, and I do appreciate that.
Thank
I
you.
went on your website to kind of prepare for this. I've never seen a website with more information than the Polk State, and I'm sure it is. It's polk.edu.
Exactly.
And I was going around, and every topic seems to have a link to it. And I said, Mom, I'm just in a rabbit hole sitting here doing this stuff. And it was phenomenal. So, but thank you for your leadership for our community. I wish you well with your family and your career, and I hope you finish out here, that this is a place where you
Me
stay.
too. Thank you for
I
saying
do
that.
hope you get in the lakes and enjoy the water.
I'll be on a boat or on a jet ski.
They're still in the lake, so
Well, yeah, but not in the water.
okay. But if anything happens, we'll have a nice memorial for you. But I hope that the alligators stay
Put a
away.
scholarship in my name, please.
well,
Right? And
the
go
alligator
Gators. And
hunter,
go
the
Gators.
alligator
My
hunter.
husband's a UF grad, so go
Yeah,
Gators at
okay.
the same time.
But thank you very much. We appreciate it very much, and for all you do for us.
Thank you for being a friend, and I want to thank this community for embracing me, but more so for making Polk State College a priority.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eli. Hey, everybody. I want to thank you for listening to Todd's podcast. This has been your host, Todd Dantzler. And if you enjoyed this episode, I want you to pay attention and tune in next time, where we talk to Fred Hyde, the Polk County Public Schools Superintendent. We will talk about the challenges that are in front of the school board and the school system, and we may even talk a little bit about Bigfoot. So I hope you tune in next time for our interview with Fred Hyde, the Superintendent of Polk County Schools. As always, don't forget to rate, review, follow, and subscribe to Todd's podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you have any questions for me or any suggestions for future guests, please call or text our number at 863-288-0944 or visit todddantzler.com. Again, that's 863-288-0944 or visit my website, todddantzler.com. I look forward to hearing your questions and feedback, and please take care.